Hello, everyone, and welcome to Boys Town Donor Week. My name is Gabby, and I am your host for the week. We are celebrating you, our wonderful donors and supporters, all this week. So, we're going to be interviewing a different Boys Town donor each day of the week. And on Wednesday, we're celebrating our founder's birthday, Father Edward Flanagan, with two special Facebook Live interviews. And one of them is going to be featuring our executive director, Father Bays. So, we are also giving away some fun things throughout the week. So, if you're interested in winning any kind of Boys Town swag, please go ahead and leave a comment below on this video and tell us why you support Boys Town for a chance to win. So, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up as we welcome our first interview, Gloria. Gloria, how are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great. It is so awesome to meet you virtually, albeit, but it's so great to have you. And we are celebrating your story with Boys Town and very interested in learning more about why you support our mission and your history of donating. So, we have several different discussion questions we're going to go through. And if you're watching with us live and you have a question for Gloria, go ahead and comment below and we can get that answered at the end. So, please begin, Gloria, by introducing yourself and telling our followers a little bit more about you.
Okay, I am a mom to one adult daughter, Michelle, a grandmother to a 13-year-old grandson who helps me learn how to play pickleball. I am a world traveler, a retired educator. I've been teaching something for 54 years. I currently volunteer to teach driver safety classes for AARP. I'm an eternal optimist, and I just found Boys Town about 15, 20 years ago and fell in love with it. So I'll be happy to share more about how I got involved.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You have quite the background, so I'm excited to dig into it. So let's go back to the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing. We understand that your dad was a donator to Boys Town, so we'd love to hear more about that and your family's connection to our organization.
I had a typical childhood, a mom that stayed home and was one of the best cooks in the neighborhood, with very little education, but she was one of the smartest people I've ever known. She could figure out how to do anything that she wanted to do. My dad was an aircraft mechanic who had learned his skill in World War II as an air in the Air Force. We lived the typical American life. We lived in a small tract home. Our life revolved around church and neighborhood and family. And everything was wonderful until about sixth grade when my father became seriously ill.
Mhm.
So during that time, for that time, we donated to causes. And I remember, I don't know how my dad got involved with Boys Town because he was an active Baptist. So
Yeah.
how he got involved with a Catholic charity, I'm not sure. But I remember seeing the little symbol of the boy holding his brother and my dad explaining the mantra, he ain't heavy, he's my brother. And I'm glad to see that you now have the brother carrying the sister with the pigtails. So we had just a normal life until about sixth grade. My dad became very ill and we moved back to Georgia. He was not able to work. He was in and out of the hospital. We had no insurance, no job. We came back to our support system and moved to a little small town in North Georgia where my parents were from. We had for the next 9 years, it was very tough. My mom worked the night shift in a cotton mill. My dad was in and out of the hospital on various experimental drugs that had all kinds of side effects. We lived in a 3 room, not 3 bedroom, a 3 room apartment, the three of us, where we heated with coal in the fireplace. We had faith and we had a lot of love and not much of anything else. And it was very, very hard.
Yeah.
Um, Family and our church supported us. And when it came time to decide where you were going to school, There was no choice.
Right.
Unless a miracle happened, I was not, oh, excuse me.
You're fine.
Unless a miracle happened, I was not going to school.
Yeah.
The miracle came in the form of an old maid teacher, and I can't turn this off.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Yeah, you're fine.
In the form of an old maid teacher who offered to pay my way through school for four
Wow.
years, with only two caveats: that you
Mhm.
don't tell anybody that
Okay.
she had done this and that you pay it forward.
Uh,
Well, I was terribly impressed by this wonderful lady. As it turned out, I wound up winning a scholarship from the cotton mill that my mom worked at. They gave at least one scholarship a year to students, to children of their employees. So the dear sweet little lady went on to help somebody else. I never knew who. I went to school on a full scholarship for 4 years to a small Baptist college in East Tennessee, which was close enough that I could take the Greyhound bus home every once in a while and check on my mom and dad.
yeah.
Mom worked at the cotton mill and continued to do that for years and years and years. And my father finally, 2 weeks before he died, 8 years later, was diagnosed with a name for the illness.
Okay.
All the time, he hadn't been able to get Social Security. My parents didn't apply for welfare because they felt somebody else needed it. So
Wow.
we had a pretty tough time, but we had a lot of people helping us. And I grew up with the idea that you always help somebody else.
Yeah. Wow, that is quite the story. So thank you for sharing that with us. And I mean, I can tell even just from talking with you for 5 minutes just how much love and care you have for your parents and for you to share that story and share the inspiring story of being able to give back and pass it on beyond them. You know, your dad was going through such a hard time himself and still made a point to support Boys Town, which is totally invaluable. So it's amazing. Yes. So, moving on, being a former teacher, as you mentioned in the beginning, why do you think education is so important in today's youth, especially the youth at Boys Town, who, just as you said in your story, may not have gotten that chance at a quality education without the support and the helping hands of others?
Well, that's the main reason I chose Boys Town, because as a teacher, I saw children from all types of backgrounds.
Yeah.
And I knew that every child did not grow up in the same kind of home that I did,
Hmm.
with the support system that I had, and with the miracle that I was given, and the lady, the teacher that offered to help me. A lot of people don't have that.
Right.
So, and I just lost my train of thought.
Happened.
Remind me what the question was again,
Yeah, of
please.
course. So I was asking why do you think education is so important to today's youth? You know, being a former teacher yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I I know that everybody has to work to survive. There is a difference between a job and a job that you love.
yeah.
So I saw that with my family. My mom had very little education, formal education, and the only job she could get was working the night shift in a cotton mill, a
Mhm.
gruelingly physically challenging job. And I learned over the years that an education or some type of training can allow you to choose the job that you have.
Mhm.
Gives you an opportunity to go into a field that you're interested in. And that may not be what you do lifelong, but that is the stepping stone to adulthood. And I feel that everybody deserves the opportunity to go into some kind of field that they are interested in, and a field that they feel will not be a dead end, low paying job, but a field that they go in, they work hard, they make progress, they're rewarded for their hard work, and their other opportunities open up for them. So I was lucky to always be involved in something I loved. I never felt like teaching was going to work. I felt like teaching was going to visit my other children during the day. I evolved into technical training, and then I just adopted older children that I was teaching, and even corporate executives sometimes. And I often said the only difference between those and fifth graders was the price of their toys. So education is what gives you the opportunity to be what you want to be.
Yeah, definitely. And for so many of our youth at Boys Town, they come to Boys Town and they have no clue because they didn't even think, they would make it that far at all. So for them to come to Boys Town and be supported by people like you and be able to get a high school education and pursue college or trades or the military, whatever their next stepping stone is totally made possible by people like you who believe in the power of education. So thanks for sharing that. And I just want to remind everyone too that is watching live, we are doing some giveaways throughout this video and throughout the week. So comment below and let us know why you support Boys Town for a chance to win some Boys Town swag. We have a little water bottle, we have our quote of the day calendars, I have sunglasses, pens, a bunch of fun stuff. So if you want to win any of that, leave a comment below. Okay, so you mentioned at the beginning too that you are a big traveler. I would love to hear about some of the favorite places that you've been.
I have been to all 7 continents.
Wow.
Antarctica is my favorite because of the pristine environment
Yeah.
and the thousands and thousands and thousands of noisy penguins. Fell in love with the penguins,
Oh,
the glaciers, the kayaking around the icebergs and the glaciers, and it's just the most amazing place in the world. So I
yeah.
encourage everybody to save all your pennies and go before the ice melts.
Yes.
Favorite countries are New Zealand and Switzerland because of the beautiful environment, the mountains and the rivers and the streams, and the wonderful, friendly people. So those are my favorites. But of course, the US and the Grand Canyon and
Yeah.
the sequoia trees are pretty special also.
Yeah. That's cool. Have you been to Ireland by chance?
I have not, and I am Irish. So
Oh,
that is on my bucket list.
yeah. Well, you'll have to add it because Father Flanagan was from Ballymo and we have a garden there that you should visit. I think you'd really like it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's cool. So the next question is, you have been donating to Boys Town since the year 2000. First of all, thank you. What inspires you to continue giving after all of these years?
Well, the way I got involved to start with, I was looking for a charitable annuity.
Yeah.
Instead of a CD, I wanted to put my money into something that would benefit other people and that would also give me something back. So I was being a little bit selfish, so I made a contribution, and over the years, I became friends with Jeremy and Titus in the planned giving department. And I learned so much more about Boys Town, that it wasn't just a children's home, but it was a complete life for children and for adults. And so through that, I decided when some of my friends and some of my relatives were dying without wills and had no way to tell people how they wanted their estate to go, I set up a will, and I wanted to do something to honor my parents.
Yeah.
So I know you have another question, so I'll hold on to that. But I decided that Boys Town was going in my will because I wanted to make a lasting contribution, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yes. Great, great sneak preview. That is my next question. So you all don't have to wait very long. So, in planning for the future, we are very, very grateful that you have included Boys Town, not just for the at-risk youth that we serve on our home campus, but for all of the families, the youth that we serve at all of our affiliate sites across the country. Any gift to Boys Town in any amount helps all different kinds of populations. So, I'm really glad you mentioned that. So, when you say that Boys Town is in your future estate plans, what does that mean for viewers who might not understand?
Well, I am a bit of a control freak, so I didn't want somebody just to give away everything that I had saved
Yeah,
and kept forever, so I wanted to plan it. So I sat down with an estate attorney and we developed a will and we developed a trust. So my will is set up so that I don't have a lot of money. I am not a wealthy person. I am not one of those donors who can build a wing to the hospital or build a new
right.
cottage on the campus or donate computers. But like the teacher who was going to send me to school, I can do something for one person at a time.
Mhm.
So my will is set up so that my daughter and my grandson will get some, and my two faith based charities will get the remainder. The college that I attended has an endowed scholarship in my husband's name for a science or an education major, and Boys Town has an endowed scholarship in my parents' name because my dad had taught me, had educated me and introduced me to Boys Town, and my mom for many years had wanted a house full of children, and God didn't see that. I they gave them only me. I guess God decided I was a handful and I didn't need any more. But regardless, I set up an endowed scholarship in my parents' name at
Yeah,
Boys Town.
yes.
And the question to Jeremy and Titus along the years was, what happens when kids age out of Boys Town?
Yeah.
When they graduate and they have nowhere to go and they're
Mhm.
too old for foster care and they have no family who can support them, what happens to them then? So I my endowed scholarship is to help provide education or training to those graduates who have finished their Boys Town education and or to help with the program that I know you have to mentor young adults to
Mhm.
help them find apartments and help them get jobs and help them manage their money and launch them into adulthood. So
Mhm.
that's the focus of my endowment. And the reason it's an endowment because I put a little bit of seed money in to get it started. I had a year when my minimum required distribution was going to cost me more money than it gave me because
Right.
Uncle Sam was going to take it all. So if I made a nice donation to Boys Town, I got to keep a tiny little bit more of it. So
Gotcha.
I seed up for the endowed scholarship. And when my will is processed, you will get another donation, which hopefully over time, because the principal remains intact and the interest gets distributed, each year, one young adult can get assistance. Not enough to give them a free ride, but enough to give them a help, a boost. So I feel like with that, I can help one person at a time over the next 50 or 60 or 70 years.
Mhm.
And if each of those one person also pays it forward,
Yes.
we have contributed to a lot of people over time.
Mhm.
And that was just the way a retired teacher with a tiny nest egg decided, how can I pay it forward?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of baby boomers like me have a house they bought 30, 40 years ago, which is worth way more than they ever thought it would be.
Right.
So that house gets sold and that 401k is left over. You can always find a good cause,
Yeah.
and I think that good cause is an endowed scholarship for graduates of Boys Town.
Yeah.
That's a long answer, I apologize.
No, the more details the better because, a lot of people watching may not even know that we do have planned giving. So, for those of you who might not be familiar, I will make sure to link our website below where you can learn more about, getting Boys Town involved with your future plans for giving. So, thank you for explaining that and for giving that scholarship in your parents' name. Again, just totally ties back to what we talked to at the beginning of just how much you love and admire them and appreciated them throughout your life. So I think that's such a beautiful thing. So we do have just one more question for you, Gloria, but before, I want to give everyone one more chance to comment below on this live video and let us know why you support Boys Town for a chance to win some Boys Town swag, and make sure that you've liked this video too to be entered. So, okay, last question. It's kind of a big one. So, Gloria, why do you think it's important for people watching this interview to consider donating to Boys Town during Donor Week and beyond?
I think it's probably one of the most comprehensive programs for helping young people that I have ever seen. And like I said, it was way beyond just a children's home, which I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's an education service, it's a support service. I learned about the suicide line. I learned about the way you have programs in various cities. I think it is a way to help here at home. Like many people, I give to Heifer International and World Vision and some of the things that help in other countries, but I wanted to find something that I felt really strongly about in our country. And on my bucket list is to visit Boys Town, Nebraska. I have never been there,
Oh my
but I
goodness.
I want to come, not in the winter, thank you very much,
That's
but
fine.
I do want to come, and I would like to encourage people to find a way. It doesn't have to be a large donation. You can designate specifically how you want it to be used. And my way is to help one person at a time. So even if you can only help one person at a time, you're doing something worthwhile and you're paying forward the good luck and the blessings that you have had in your life.
Yeah, definitely. And it always causes a ripple effect, right? They were going to help you go to school, and now you're helping another Boys Town child finish school. So that's great.
Exactly.
If you want to come to Boys Town, let me know when you're coming because I'd love to have lunch with you while you're here.
Right.
Tom Lynch is at our Hall of History, and he gives the best tours, but I'll go along with you guys because it'd
We'll
be
wait until the pandemic is completely over
yes,
before I anyway.
definitely. Yeah, we'll get you out there though. It'll be fun. So awesome. Well, Gloria, this has been such a wonderful chat. It's been such a joy to hear more about you and your connection to Boys Town. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it too.
Great. Well, we will be live again tomorrow, everyone, at noon Central Time. We'll be live with Dorothy Zoland, who is another Boys Town donor. So tune into that, and I'll post the full interview schedule for this week in the comment section so you can see who we're interviewing and when, and make sure to tune in. So thank you so much, and have a great rest of your Monday. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.